I dug your music, man, but of course, like everybody, but I really became a fan when I read this piece that you wrote on Rickson Gracie, where you just nailed it. You nailed the essence of jiu-jitsu, and and Rickson himself is a fascinating guy. There's very few people that I've met that you meet him and like right away you know there's something different about this cat. And Rickson is an incredibly intense guy. It's so rare you find a real martial arts master. So sort of a cliche term that we think of in terms of like movies, the one man who is the master, who has it all in control.
Well, not to take anything away from Rickson, but I've actually learned more from training with Royler.
Royler's amazing.
Yeah, Royler and Carlos Machado. Because when you travel around, I can't train consistently, so I can't just walk into a dojo and just throw on my gi and expect not to have my ass handed to me and then not be able to do the show.
Right.
So I just do privates, and I just do them with the guys who are as old or older than me, so they don't have anything to prove. So it's just like, hey, let's just have some fun, and rather than trying to put a notch in their belt with my blood.
Well, none of the older guys would do that anyway. Especially when you get to the black belt level, no one's trying to.
No, they're very cool about it. But I can't just walk into a room and just dive into a class.
Yeah.
Not at the age of 48, going on 50.
Did you used to do that? Did you used to take classes?
Yeah, earlier on, and that's how I got injured. You walk into the wrong place that they think for some reason you're, challenging their manhood, and all of a sudden it's like, dude, and at that point I only weighed like 135, so. You're rolling into any dojo you're rolling into, you're like, you might as well be somebody's child.
The real problem is that blue belt to purple belt stage where you're just trying to get as many kills as you can, and it's like anyone that comes along, look at this guy, he's only 140 pounds, so that's a kill. I'm going to get this one.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm looking for the photo of Royler so I can prove that I actually did that. No, I did.
Well, I've seen photos of you and Dave Camarillo and BJ Penn, and I'm sure.
This wine, by the way, delicious.
Yeah, what kind is this?
There we go.
What is this? This is a rosé?
This is a rosé Nebbiolo. There's my Rogan.
Rogan Gracie. I just saw him recently. This is one of his fighters fought in the UFC a couple weeks ago.
I don't know if it will show up. Why not?
No.
A little.
You can see his hairline.
What an incredible family. I want to talk about a family that's had an impact on martial arts. It's really an amazing thing that in the 1990s, with all we thought we knew about martial arts, this one family from Brazil can have this monstrous impact.
And it's funny how, like, when now you know that, and you still see guys pimping their, dance theater.
Yeah. Sort of. Much more rare.
Square dance.
Much more rare than ever before. There's still a few holdouts that are teaching some silly form of something.
I had a friend who was working with a band, and he's a solid practitioner. Finally got his black belt, but he just does security. He's doing mainly director of security and for these different tours. And this particular one, he wasn't doing any martial arts. He was just like doing his job and directing what was going on. And then one of the artists was flying this guy in and paying him all this money to do this kung fu stuff. And he's being respectful. He's just letting that, like, not my place to even insert into that, but like, he's would always like to angle into getting an opportunity on the road, because when you're traveling, trying to train and trying to do that stuff it's almost impossible. It's really hard to do. And so, if there's any way he can work into at least getting to train with them, that'd be great. So, whenever the opportunity presented itself, he's like, I also, train on Jiu Jitsu. Would love to jump in with you guys at some point just to get a workout in or something. And the guy basically said, look, if I'm, he wasn't responding to him. So he's like, finally went, look, what we do is like, university level. That Jiu Jitsu thing is like kindergarten. So my buddy's like, okay, it's on. So he calls Renzo and says, Renzo, I'm on the East Coast. I need a place to go train, and this is what happened. And Renzo's like, what? Bring that motherfucking kung fu motherfucker down to the... It was so amazing that, like, so, this guy is, now he's kind of cornered. He's he's kind of basically challenged my friend And my friend's trying to be as respectful as possible. Just going, the guy just kept going and going about with, the disrespect talk.
Well, and that's how you know he sucks, most likely.
Mm-hmm. And there's a video online of the schooling, and it was.
Oh, really?
The video that's online it's after, like, they did some stuff, and it was over so fast that finally Renzo kept going, okay, now you can't hit him, you can't tackle him, you can't use your arm. Like, he kept, like, taking things away from my guy to make it so that
and it was
just destroying him. And it was, like, just embarrassing. So the guy who's been paying this guy this money this whole time is looking at this going, what the fuck have I been paying for?
Nonsense. Yeah. There's a lot of that out there.
Square dancing.
Well, for the longest time, that was the majority of martial arts was fuckery. You know, I mean, most of the schools you would find on corners. Right. My friend Eddie had a guy that he was taking kung fu from, and the guy went to China to learn secret techniques under this deadly master. And then he found the guy supposed to be in China. He found his fucking car at the supermarket parking lot. And he found the guy in the like, what the fuck, man? I thought you were in China.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm on my way to China.
Trips.
Chinatown. Yeah. I was going to Chinatown.
It's, it was
a secret.
It was a hustle. For a long time, all you had to do was pretend. You just had to, like, throw some techniques that you learned from. I mean, you could watch a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie and kind of get a good idea how he's moving his body and sort of recreate that. Mm-hmm. And if you were really crazy, next thing you know, you could have a school where you're teaching your own style of self-defense that's completely ineffective.
I want to do one that's like practical fighting where you're actually, you're going to be in a bar, so you might as well be drunk. So we call it just beer sando. And you just show up and you immediately pound a six-pack, and then we start training.
That's a good idea.
Brian, we got to throw your chair away.
I know.
It's dead.
I think
Why don't you grab one of these other ones?
All right.
These other ones that don't get used as much, don't squeak as much. Yeah.
I thought that was his back.
No, but imagine if it was. That would be... that would be one of the worst feelings ever if you dedicated a massive amount of your life to some bullshit and then it's just exposed in front of you like that.
Right.
That happens to a lot of martial artists, man. I've met a lot of people who, whether it was Taekwondo or whatever traditional martial art that had a giant hole in it, and they didn't even realize that.
Well, it was the same with my friend. He was a black belt in I think Taekwondo, and he rolled into Rodrigo Baji's place in St. Louis and went, okay, whatever this is, let me just show you. And he just had his ass handed to him, like, repeatedly. And he went, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, I was a black belt in Taekwondo before I ever did Jiu Jitsu. And when I first did Jiu Jitsu, there was this kid that I'll never forget, this purple belt kid, my age, my size. There was nothing special about him. And he used to just maul me. Every class, he would maul me. It was like I was a baby. Like I couldn't do anything to him. I couldn't defend myself. I'd be exhausted. He'd just fucking strangle me, and I'd have to tap. It was just so humiliating and humbling. I remember thinking, wow, I was walking around not even knowing somebody my size could do that to me. I had no idea. Really had no idea. I was just living in a completely delusional world of martial arts prowess.
Well, you have to remember that the reason that we're here at all is at some point during our human development, we, instinctively and just accidentally realized that we can't rely on our strength or speed. We had to rely on our brain. So, because, we don't just run out and grab the lion and rip its head off. We had to run from it and find a stick and sharpen it and, go out in teams and, take down the elephant with 5 guys, So that, so when you think of martial arts in that manner, you start to realize how important the mental game is as opposed to just the physical game.
Well, especially in jiu-jitsu, it's one of the rare martial arts where technique is really the most important aspect of the practice. And when you get a really big, strong guy, it's actually a disadvantage for a strong guy to learn jiu-jitsu because the best technical guys are always small, weaker guys because they have to be technical. There's nothing they can muscle or force. Whereas the big guys, they can get away with some sloppy shit because of the fact that they're big and strong. So they're really hindering themselves by using strength. I mean, there's no sport like that and no martial art even like that. I mean, technique is very important in kickboxing, but athleticism and speed is equally important. If you're very technical but slow, it really won't work. In jiu-jitsu, these guys, the saddest thing about rolling with someone like a Rickson or a Jean-Jacques Machado is like they don't even try. Like, it's not like they're straining and moving hard. They just slowly, oh, my friend, Oh, you're on your back again. Oh, you better protect this arm because this is the one I'm going
10,
for.
9, 8, 7. You're like, what's he going to do? And then he does it, and you go, okay.
Hickson would do that to black belts. He would pick an arm and tell them, I'm going to get your right arm in an arm bar. And you're like, there's no fucking way. I'm going to chicken wing this motherfucker.
My arm's over there. Like, how are you going to get me in an arm bar? And all of a sudden he's over there, and you're tapping out.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was something like that before. And once you understand like how technical jiu-jitsu is, it really becomes so fascinating. Josh Waitzkin is a famous chess player. He was that movie Searching for Bobby Fischer was based on him. And he sort of got disillusioned with chess after a while, got bored with it, and devoted the same energy to jiu-jitsu. And he's one of Marcelo Garcia's proteges now, and he has, I think it's called MGJ and Marcelo Garcia Jiu-Jitsu in Action, mgjinaction.com, and it's maybe MGJJ. And it's the website. He has it broken down the way you would break down chess. Like he breaks down moves and has different transitions to different moves. So you can look at it, in a much more maybe analytical and calculated move way, than you would if you were
What's
just.
His name?
His name is Josh Waitzkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a guy that trains out of Henzo's studio in New York. I think his name's John.
John Danaher, maybe.
God, man.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And it's just like it's like like the chess. You watch his brain going, okay, this is this millimeter, and this is this
he was
millimeter.
a philosophy student. He was a university student, and he was bouncing. That's what he was doing for fun, or to pay bills. And along the way, someone said, hey, you should learn some jiu-jitsu, and he became completely obsessed. Sleeps on the mats. I mean, literally teaches all day. I mean, Danaher is a legend in jiu-jitsu circles. It's what happens when a super intelligent guy gets physically absorbed in a sport. Yeah, he's just he works with a lot of top guys. Like he's always in George St. Pierre's corner. There's a lot of good guys that come out of his gym, and there's guys who give good instruction, and there's guys who suck in the corner. In the corner, there's some guys who just, you listen to them, and I have to do everything I can and not criticize them. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying to that guy? Like, this is nonsense. Like, you don't hit him. You're better off saying nothing because you're putting in like an air of despair and idiocy into this cage. They say such stupid shit, but not Danaher, man. Danaher is like super precise. You need to hold your left hand slightly higher, your chin tucked, shoulders up. Move to your right side. If he's throwing the left, first duck under, then go for a single. The single does not work, you transition to a double. Have water. Drink. Deep breath. And you're like, whoa. This motherfucker just got schooled. Yeah. You hear him talk, and you go, this guy knows exactly what I'm supposed to do. If I could just listen to this guy, I think I'm going to be okay. It's a crazy world, the world of intelligence and risk and martial art. And that's what people, like, for the wrong reasons, associate martial arts and especially associate competition with meatheads, assholes, dummies. But the most brilliant minds and some of the most interesting people that I've ever met were martial arts practitioners, because there's a certain amount of calculation you have to do while under extreme duress and pressure, and there's a risk involved. And the risk is like physical health. And all of those together create an incredible reward when you're successful. The reward is amazing. But the downside is like, man, for most people, the down is too low and they avoid it. And that's the people that can make their way through those waters, the strongest salmon who get up that waterfall, are, to me, some of the most interesting people that I've ever met.
Yep. I would have to agree.
Yeah, and that's what I got out of your article. I was like, this guy gets it. You're seeing the essence of what this is all about. So, sort of a cliche term that we think of in terms of like movies, the one man who is the master, who has it all in control.
Well, not to take anything away from Rickson, but I've actually learned more from training with Hoyler.
Hoyler's amazing.
Yeah, Hoyler and Carlos Machado. Because when you travel around, I can't train consistently, so I can't just walk into a dojo and just throw on my gi and expect not to have my ass handed to me and then not be able to do the show.
Right.
So I just do private.
Fascinating guy. There's very few people that I've met that you meet him and like right away there's something different about this cat. And Rickson is an incredibly intense guy. It's so rare you find a real martial arts master.
And I just do them with the guys who are as old or older than me, so they don't have anything to prove. So it's just like, hey, let's just have some fun, and rather than trying to put a notch in their belt with my blood.
Well, none of the older guys would do that anyway. I dug your music, man, but of course, like everybody. But I really became a fan when I read this piece that you wrote on Rickson Gracie, where you just nailed it. You nailed the essence of
the balance
jiu-jitsu,
article.
and yeah. And Rickson himself was a